In Japan, the average person lives more than 5 years longer than the average American. They report higher energy levels throughout the day, lower rates of afternoon fatigue, and remarkably stable blood sugar. What if I told you that one of the most powerful contributors to this vitality happens before 9 in the morning? It's not a supplement, it's not a workout routine. It's something as simple as breakfast, but approached in a completely different way than most of us have ever considered. The Japanese breakfast might look unfamiliar at first glance, but hidden within its structure are principles that modern science is only now beginning to validate. From the specific foods on the plate to the pace at which they're eaten, every element serves a purpose. And here's what makes it even more fascinating. These aren't recent health trends. These are centuries-old habits passed down through generations that have quietly shaped one of the healthiest populations on Earth. In this video, we'll walk through a traditional Japanese breakfast piece by piece, uncovering why each element matters for energy, focus, and long-term health, and how you can adapt these principles to transform your own mornings. Chapter 1. The Foundation. A different philosophy of morning fuel. The typical American breakfast has evolved around speed and convenience. A bagel grabbed on the way out the door. A bowl of cereal eaten while checking emails. Coffee as the main event, with food as an afterthought. In Japan, breakfast is viewed through an entirely different lens. It's called asa-gohan, literally morning rice, and the name reveals something fundamental. Breakfast isn't just fuel to get you to lunch. It's the foundation that sets the metabolic and mental tone for the entire day. This philosophy is rooted in traditional Chinese medicine and centuries of Japanese cultural practice. The morning meal is when the body is most receptive to nourishment, when digestion is strongest, and when the right foods can create sustained energy rather than quick spikes and crashes. Research from the University of Tokyo has shown that people who eat a substantial, balanced breakfast, particularly one rich in protein and complex carbohydrates, demonstrate better cognitive performance, more stable mood, and improved metabolic markers throughout the day. What makes the Japanese approach unique isn't just that breakfast is prioritized, but how it's structured. It's not one large item. It's a carefully balanced array of small dishes, each contributing specific nutrients that work together. Next up, what a traditional Japanese breakfast actually looks like, and why variety matters more than volume. Chapter 2. The Breakfast Array. Understanding Ichiju Sansai. Walk into a traditional Japanese home at breakfast time, and you won't see a single plate with one large item. Instead, you'll find a carefully arranged collection: a bowl of rice, a bowl of miso soup, a small portion of grilled fish, pickled vegetables, perhaps an egg, and a cup of green tea. This follows a principle called Ichiju Sansai: one soup, three sides. Instead of eating one thing in large quantity, you eat many things in small quantities, ensuring nutritional diversity and satisfaction without excess. Each component serves a distinct purpose. The rice provides complex carbohydrates for sustained energy. The miso soup offers probiotics and hydration. The fish delivers protein and omega-3 fatty acids. The pickled vegetables contribute fiber and beneficial bacteria. The green tea provides antioxidants and gentle alertness. Compare this to the typical American breakfast: pancakes with syrup or sweetened cereal with milk. Both are variations on the same theme: simple carbohydrates with minimal protein, often with significant added sugar. The Japanese approach naturally avoids the blood sugar roller coaster. By combining protein, complex carbs, healthy fats, and fiber in appropriate portions, the meal creates steady energy release, rather than the spike and crash pattern that leads to mid-morning fatigue. If you're finding these insights helpful, consider subscribing. We explore simple, powerful habits from around the world every week. Coming up, why rice at breakfast might be one of the smartest carbohydrate choices you can make. Chapter 3. Rice as the Anchor. Complex carbohydrates done right. For many Americans, breakfast carbohydrates come from wheat, toast, bagels, muffins, cereal. In Japan, breakfast carbohydrates come from rice. This isn't just cultural preference. There are specific metabolic advantages to starting your day with properly prepared rice. Rice, particularly short-grain Japanese rice, has a lower glycemic index than most breakfast breads, especially when eaten as part of a mixed meal with protein and vegetables. When you combine rice with miso soup and fish, the overall glycemic load drops even further, creating steady energy release. When rice is cooked and then cooled, a common practice in Japanese meal preparation, some of the starch forms resistant starch. This acts more like fiber, feeding beneficial gut bacteria and further stabilizing blood sugar response. Rice is also naturally gluten-free, which for some people reduces morning digestive discomfort. And unlike many Western breakfast options, unseasoned rice contains no added sugars, no added fats, and very little sodium. The portion size matters too. A typical Japanese breakfast includes about one bowl of rice, roughly 150 to 200 grams cooked. Not a huge portion. This provides adequate carbohydrates for morning energy without overwhelming the meal. For Americans considering this shift, Brown rice offers even more fiber and minerals. The white rice is easier to digest and still provides the stable energy foundation that makes Japanese breakfasts so effective. But rice doesn't work alone. Next, the warming, probiotic-rich soup that transforms breakfast from a meal into medicine. Chapter 4. Miso Soup. The morning probiotic ritual. Few breakfast traditions are as distinctly Japanese as miso soup in the morning. To Western sensibilities, soup for breakfast might seem unusual, but in Japan, a warm bowl of miso soup is as fundamental as coffee is to Americans, except it offers benefits that go far beyond caffeine. Miso is fermented soybean paste, aged anywhere from a few months to several years. This fermentation creates beneficial bacteria, enzymes, and bioactive compounds that support gut health, immune function, and mental clarity. When you start your day with miso soup, you're inoculating your digestive system with probiotics when your gut is most receptive. Research from Hiroshima University has shown that regular miso consumption is associated with reduced risk of certain cancers, improved cardiovascular markers, and better digestive health. Traditional morning miso soup includes wakame seaweed, rich in iodine for thyroid function, along with tofu for additional protein, and often scallions or other vegetables. The dashi broth base provides umami flavor and trace minerals. The warmth of the soup itself serves a purpose. Traditional Asian medicine emphasizes eating warm foods in the morning to support digestion. Modern research suggests warm liquids can stimulate digestive enzyme production and improve nutrient absorption. For Americans, fermented soup at breakfast takes adjustment, but the benefits are immediate. Steady energy, reduced inflammation, improved gut health, and genuine nourishment rather than just fullness. And speaking of foundational nutrition, next up, why protein at breakfast might be the single most important change you can make. Chapter 5. Fish for breakfast. The protein advantage. In traditional Japanese breakfast, protein isn't an afterthought. It's central, and it often comes as grilled fish, salmon, mackerel, or sanma. To many Americans, fish for breakfast seems exotic. We think of breakfast proteins as eggs or bacon, if we eat protein at all. But the Japanese approach offers distinct advantages that science increasingly validates. First, fish provides complete protein with all essential amino acids. But unlike processed breakfast meats, it comes without nitrates, excessive sodium, or saturated fats that increase inflammation. A small piece of grilled salmon offers roughly 20 to 25 grams of high-quality protein. Second, fatty fish delivers omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA. These essential fats support brain function, reduce inflammation, and improve insulin sensitivity. Starting your day with omega-3s has been linked to better cognitive performance and more stable mood. Studies from the National Institutes of Health show that eating adequate protein at breakfast, particularly 20 to 30 grams, significantly reduces hunger later in the day, stabilizes blood sugar, and helps maintain lean muscle mass as we age. The Japanese breakfast typically provides between 20 to 35 grams of protein from fish, miso soup with tofu, and eggs. Compare this to a bowl of cereal with milk, maybe 5 to 8 grams, or toast with butter at 4 to 6 grams. The difference in how your body performs over the next 4 to 6 hours is substantial. With adequate morning protein, blood sugar remains stable, energy stays consistent, and you don't experience powerful mid-morning cravings. For Americans who aren't ready for grilled fish, the principle still applies. Prioritize protein. Eggs, Greek yogurt, or even leftover chicken can provide similar benefits. So far, rice for steady energy, miso for gut health, protein for satiety. Next, the colorful vegetables that complete the nutritional picture. Chapter 6. Tsukemono and Vegetables. The fiber factor. Alongside the rice, soup, and protein, a traditional Japanese breakfast includes tsukemono, pickled or fermented vegetables. These might be pickled daikon radish, cucumber, or cabbage. They're served in small portions, but their impact is significant. Like miso, these vegetables are fermented, containing beneficial probiotics. But they also provide something most American breakfasts completely lack: vegetables. When was the last time you saw real vegetables on an American breakfast plate? The fiber from these vegetables slows carbohydrate absorption from the rice, further stabilizing blood sugar. It feeds beneficial gut bacteria and contributes to satiety, helping you feel satisfied with appropriate portions. Tsukemono also provides vitamins A, C, and K, along with minerals like potassium and calcium. The fermentation process increases the bioavailability of some nutrients. Beyond nutrition, tsukemono provides variety in taste and texture. The crisp, bright flavor contrasts with rich fish, mild rice, and savory soup. This variety keeps the palate engaged, which research suggests may improve satiety. Japanese people consume roughly twice as much fiber daily as Americans, and much of this advantage begins at breakfast. The typical American breakfast contains perhaps 2 to 4 grams of fiber. The Japanese breakfast easily provides 8 to 12 grams. For Americans, you don't need Japanese pickling techniques. Sauerkraut, kimchi, or even raw vegetables with your breakfast begins shifting the balance toward better gut health and more complete nutrition. Coming up, how Japanese people eat breakfast matters just as much as what they eat. Chapter 7. Eating slowly and mindfully. The pace matters. In Japan, breakfast isn't something you do while driving or checking your phone. It's a dedicated time when you sit down and focus on the meal in front of you. This isn't about extended meditation, it's simply about presence. Paying attention to your food, chewing thoroughly, and allowing your body to register what you're eating. Research consistently shows that eating slowly increases satiety. When you eat quickly, your body doesn't have time to register fullness. Hormones like leptin take roughly 15 to 20 minutes to signal satisfaction. If you finish in 5 minutes, you may overeat before your body realizes you've had enough. The traditional Japanese breakfast, with its multiple small dishes, naturally encourages slower eating. You're moving between rice, soup, fish, and vegetables, experiencing different flavors and textures. Chewing thoroughly is particularly emphasized in Japanese food culture. Proper chewing aids digestion by breaking down food and mixing it with saliva enzymes. It also allows you to extract more satisfaction from smaller portions. Compare this to the typical American morning rush, grabbing a breakfast bar and eating it in the car, or standing at the counter drinking coffee while scrolling through emails. When Japanese people sit down to breakfast, there's often a brief moment of gratitude, saying itadakimasu, which means I humbly receive. This creates a mental shift from hurry to appreciation. The metabolic benefits are real. People who eat slowly have lower BMI, better blood sugar control, and reduced risk of metabolic syndrome. They report greater satisfaction with smaller portions. This daily ritual connects directly to another powerful habit, how the Japanese structured the rest of their morning. Chapter 8. Morning Movement and Routine. Beyond the meal, the Japanese approach to morning wellness extends beyond the breakfast table. It encompasses the entire morning routine, including movement, fresh air, and mental preparation. Many Japanese people, especially older adults, practice Ragyo Taiso, radio calisthenics. This is a simple, accessible exercise routine broadcast on Japanese radio since 1928. For about 10 minutes each morning, participants perform stretching and light movements. It's gentle enough for anyone, but effective enough to improve circulation, flexibility, and energy. Morning movement, even light movement, profoundly affects how your body uses breakfast nutrients. Exercise increases insulin sensitivity, meaning your body handles carbohydrates more efficiently. It jumpstarts metabolism and helps distribute energy to muscles rather than storing it as fat. Walking is particularly emphasized in Japanese culture. Many people walk to the train station and to work. This morning movement isn't framed as structured exercise. It's simply how you get where you're going. Beyond physical movement, the Japanese morning routine often includes exposure to natural light and fresh air. Opening windows in the morning is common practice. This light exposure helps regulate circadian rhythms, improving sleep quality and daytime alertness. There's also cultural emphasis on order and preparation in the morning. Time is allocated for breakfast, for getting ready, for mental transition. This reduces the cortisol spike associated with morning stress and rushing. For Americans, adopting this doesn't mean waking 2 hours earlier. It means reconsidering priorities. Perhaps 10 minutes less on your phone and 10 minutes more on a walk. We've covered the what and the how. Now, the social factors that keep these habits in place. Chapter 9. Cultural norms and social reinforcement. Japanese breakfast habits don't exist in isolation. They're supported by broader cultural norms, social expectations, and environmental design. In Japanese society, there's cultural emphasis on starting the day properly. Skipping breakfast is generally viewed as careless. This isn't enforced through rules, but through social expectations. Parents prepare breakfast for children. Spouses often prepare breakfast for each other. It's an expression of care and a daily ritual that connects the household. Workplaces reinforce morning routines subtly. Work starts at a defined time, and punctuality is highly valued. This creates structure that encourages waking early enough for proper breakfast. There's also less grab-and-go breakfast culture in Japan. While convenience stores offer breakfast options, they're not filled with donuts and pastries. Instead, you'll find onigiri rice balls, small sandwiches, hard-boiled eggs, and tea. Even convenient options are more balanced. This environmental support matters enormously. When balanced breakfast is the default, when it's what your family expects, when it's what society models, maintaining the habit is easier. For Americans, this reveals both challenge and opportunity. The challenge is that our environment works against balanced breakfast. Fast food breakfast is convenient and aggressively marketed. Our schedules often prioritize extra sleep over morning meals. But the opportunity is that even small environmental changes make disproportionate difference. Keeping rice cooked and ready makes Japanese breakfast more accessible. Having miso paste and basic ingredients on hand removes friction. Planning your morning to include 15 minutes for breakfast creates space for the habit. Coming up, how to actually implement these principles in an American life. Chapter 10. Practical Adaptations for American Kitchens. Understanding Japanese breakfast principles is one thing. Actually implementing them in an American kitchen is another. Here's how to bridge that gap without requiring perfect authenticity. Start with the foundation: complex carbohydrates. You don't need Japanese rice. Brown rice, quinoa, oatmeal, or whole grain toast can serve as the base. The key is choosing minimally processed carbohydrates eaten as part of a balanced meal. For protein, fish is ideal but not required. Eggs work perfectly, boiled, poached, or scrambled. Greek yogurt works well. Even leftover chicken or tofu from dinner can fill this role. The goal is 20 to 30 grams of protein to start your day. For the soup element, you don't need to. Master miso soup immediately. Any warm, savory broth with vegetables works. Bone broth with vegetables. Simple vegetable soup. Even hot water with miso paste stirred in creates a basic version. Fermented foods can be as simple as a few bites of sauerkraut, kimchi, or yogurt with live cultures. The goal is introducing probiotics and fiber. Vegetables can be raw, steamed, pickled, or leftover from dinner. A small salad. Sliced cucumbers. Steamed broccoli. The format matters less than the presence of vegetables. Time management is often the biggest obstacle, but much preparation can be done in advance. Rice can be cooked the night before. Hard-boiled eggs can be prepared in batches. Miso soup assembles in less than 5 minutes. Consider the progressive adoption approach. Start by adding one element. Keep your usual breakfast, but add miso soup on the side, or add a boiled egg to your oatmeal for protein, or replace orange juice with green tea. Each small change shifts the nutritional balance toward the Japanese model. Over time, these additions become habits, and your preferences naturally evolve. Next, building the habit and overcoming common obstacles. Chapter 11. Building the habit. Making it stick. Changing long-established breakfast habits requires addressing the psychological and practical barriers that keep people locked into familiar patterns. The first barrier is taste preference. If you've eaten sweet breakfasts your entire life, savory breakfast may initially seem unappetizing. Your palate is conditioned to expect sweetness. This is why gradual transition works better. Start with less sweet options, unsweetened oatmeal with nuts, before moving to fully savory meals. Research shows taste preferences are adaptable. When people reduce sugar consistently for 2 to 3 weeks, foods they previously found bland begin to taste more flavorful. Your palate recalibrates. The second barrier is time. Many believe they don't have time for proper breakfast, but this often reflects priority rather than absolute constraint. Consider what you spend morning time on: scrolling social media, checking news, extra time in the shower. Reallocating 10 minutes creates space for basic Japanese breakfast principles. Preparation is crucial. Having rice ready, keeping boiled eggs refrigerated, maintaining a supply of miso paste, these preparations make morning execution simple. You're assembling components prepared in advance, not cooking from scratch at 6:30 a.m. The third barrier is skepticism. Will this really make a difference? The answer is that results take time but are noticeable. Most people report feeling more sustained energy within the first week. Reduced mid-morning hunger usually appears within days. Tracking helps maintain motivation. Not elaborate food journals, but simple awareness. How do you feel 2 hours after breakfast? Are you hungry? Are you energized or sluggish? Paying attention reinforces the connection between breakfast quality and how you function. Finally, flexibility prevents failure. You won't eat a perfect Japanese breakfast every morning. The goal isn't perfection, it's establishing a baseline pattern that most mornings follow. This brings us to what makes these habits sustainable when so many approaches fail. Conclusion: we began this exploration with a simple question. Why does breakfast in Japan set people up for the day in ways that Western breakfasts often don't? We've traced the answer through multiple layers, from specific foods to cultural practices to underlying philosophy. The Japanese breakfast isn't magical. There's no single superfood or secret ingredient. Instead, it's a system, a carefully evolved approach that balances macronutrients, provides sustained energy, supports gut health through fermented foods, emphasizes protein for satiety, includes vegetables for fiber, and surrounds the meal with mindfulness and routine. What makes this approach particularly valuable is its sustainability. These aren't restrictive rules or trendy hacks. They're principles that have sustained for generations because they work with human physiology and psychology. They provide satisfaction, not deprivation. They offer variety, not monotony. They integrate into daily life rather than requiring constant discipline. For Americans, especially those in midlife and beyond, Japanese breakfast principles offer a practical pathway to more sustained energy, better metabolic health, and improved daily function. We don't need to eat exactly like people in Tokyo. We need to understand the principles, prioritize protein, include vegetables, choose complex carbohydrates, add fermented foods, eat slowly and mindfully, and adapt them to our own kitchens and schedules. The science validates what Japanese culture has known for generations. How you start your morning shapes how your entire day unfolds. Stable blood sugar, adequate protein, good gut health, proper hydration, and mindful eating create a foundation that supports everything else you do. Consider a simple 3-week progression. Week 1. Add one Japanese element to your current breakfast, maybe a hard-boiled egg or miso soup. Week 2. Rebalance your plate toward more protein and vegetables, less simple carbohydrates. Week 3. Try full Japanese-style breakfast 4 or 5 mornings. Rice, miso soup, protein, vegetables, green tea. After 3 weeks, you'll have clear experiential data about how your body responds, and you can design your sustainable pattern. Which of these Japanese breakfast habits could fit into your life? Perhaps adding miso soup a few mornings per week. Perhaps prioritizing protein. Perhaps sitting down for 10 minutes rather than eating on the run. Perhaps keeping cooked rice ready so balanced breakfast becomes easier to assemble. Small changes compound over time. A slightly better breakfast today leads to better energy and decisions throughout the day. Better days accumulate into better weeks and months. This is how sustainable health change happens, not through dramatic overhauls, but through small, consistent improvements in foundational habits like breakfast. If you found these insights valuable and want to explore more simple, powerful habits from cultures around the world, consider subscribing. We release new videos each week exploring practices that support health, energy, and longevity in ways that science is only now beginning to validate. The Japanese approach to breakfast isn't just about living longer. It's about having the energy and vitality to fully engage with your life today, tomorrow, and for decades to come. And that journey begins tomorrow morning with how you choose to start your day.